Stanmick.
Here.
Harris.
Here.
Maynard. McDermott.
Here.
Ogalla. Here. Trainier.
Here.
Wilhelmie.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Jackie, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. We have minutes to approve.
So moved. Second.
Moved by McDermott, second by Ogalla. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Miscellaneous information. Just a report from Wells Fargo.
I just wanted to share that with the Finance Committee. The SEC put new rules in effect July 1st about use of municipal advisors. One of the things we were required to do was send Wells Fargo a letter saying that we have Spear Financial acting as our financial advisor. So Wells Fargo's not doing the whole piece of any bond transaction. The letter from Wells Fargo is explaining what they're doing. They're doing due diligence to go back. The SEC gave them a window of opportunity where if there was some misdisclosure, if they did act in both pieces, in both roles, they can self-report. That's not the case here. We've always had a municipal advisor and Wells Fargo do our bond offerings. I just wanted to make you aware of it.
And there's nothing.
There's nothing for us to do. The only thing they had asked is for us to identify whether we used a municipal advisor, and we do use Spear Financial.
And that's always been the case?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Okay, thank you, Karen.
Okay.
Old business, committing funds for University of Illinois Cooperative Extension. Who's come back in? Come on up. Introduce yourselves again.
Good morning, I'm Beth LaPlante. I'm the County Director for the University of Illinois Extension for Will, Grundy, and Hamilton counties.
And I'm Nancy Kahida. I work exclusively in Will, a little bit in Grundy. I'm the program coordinator for the University of Illinois Extension.
Thank you for coming back again.
Thank you.
Everybody's had a chance to read through the information, I believe. We had a brief presentation in a previous meeting. We know you were looking for an additional $25,000 and on top of what we've normally done. Karen, do we have $25,000 still appropriated?
Normally, this is covered by the money we get through Waste Management.
It is.
And now we have a new agreement with them, so I would think, depending on what amount the board authorizes, it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
There's various new revenue streams because of Waste Management. So this is only $25,000, so it should not be a problem.
Correct. Is there any, I mean, I know that there are extensions looking for some additional help. Is there any comment or anybody want to offer anything up? Jackie?
I just wanted to ask a question about your programs. I understand that you do a number of SNAP education programs. Where do you do them? When do you do them? Is that scheduled public?
We have an educator that's basically, she's working with the school districts that are eligible for SNAP funds and to help develop wellness programs, help to get the food and vegetable grants to work with the school districts. At that point, that's our focus, working with school districts. This one person. We are eligible to add more staff.
I saw that.
But I'm not willing to do that until I make sure I've got funding to keep an office going, a facility. So.
How would I find out more about who that person is working with in terms of school district?
I may have that.
That's outside my programming area and the rest of the.
Any other questions?
She's Creek Monique, she's Rockdale, she is also for Kankakee School District 111. She's trying to get in with Joliet District 86, and she's done some, mostly Creek Monique too, so what is on that?
If I could, go ahead. If I could just make an addition in that SNAP Ed audience, although I work for the county, My programs are the natural resource area programs, master gardening, master naturalist, those areas. I put in a significant amount of community gardens in the special needs areas, and particularly not only with the at-risk population, but at both local Joliet high schools. They both have school gardens now, as well as with special needs at the schools, and also at the Joliet Organic Community Garden. So we're trying to improve nutrition through growing as well, and we do lessons through that as well.
We have a school garden in one of our schools.
How are you reaching out? I see a lot of Joliet reference here. I don't represent Joliet. I represent the northern part of the Naperville
Yep.
and Bolingbrook area.
Yep.
So how are you reaching out? I saw the one with Bolingbrook, but how about some of the other?
I have master gardeners, in my program areas, I have master gardeners really splattered throughout. I have a dozen master gardeners in the Naperville area. We do a wide variety of local programming depending on the school district and their needs and their wants from us. They answer gardening questions. They go to a lot of fests and festivals answering questions at those things. If we had a request from someone who wanted to put in a school garden, we have a program called Junior Master Gardener. We haven't had any requests from Naperville. I have some of my Naperville Master
So
Gardeners.
let me ask you,
Sure.
how do you reach out to those folks? Because I know my wife works with Neuqua Valley High School with their special needs population, and this would be a wonderful opportunity for them to get the kids involved in this kind of activity. And I don't even know that she would even know how to
Contact us, and that's often Extension is said is the best kept secret because we are trying to reach out as much as possible. I do publicize publicly in the papers and things, and then also a lot of times it is word of mouth, and certainly I would be happy to meet with anyone. And my program has grown from 26 volunteers to 150 volunteers, and again, as soon as we get requests, that's how we meet them. We also do embryology through our school, which also might work with their population, and I do have people all over doing that as well.
We're limited by staff.
Right.
Funding.
Right, so it says in here that you have the ability to hire 3 more people because of the numbers we have and everything.
Yes.
Obviously, it's a funding issue.
The hiring for the SNAP Ed is not a funding issue. It's me having a place to put them because of the funding issue, because that's federal money that comes through the state for SNAP Ed only, okay? Very specific audience, very specific curriculum, the whole deal.
Mhm.
But I have to house them, so that becomes the bottleneck too. But the other programs we're speaking of are not necessarily, they would not fall under that SNAP Ed. Those are the programs that I would need more funding to hire additional staff to manage those, so. yeah.
Thank you for clarifying that.
And we're without a 4-H program coordinator, which is typically part of the office, and I kind of try to balance that out as well as assisting with those areas as well, besides my regular areas, so.
So we have a full-time secretary and Nancy's full-time, that's what we've got in Will County. And we really, the needs are here. We've gotten support from our extension state staff, that we have a Metro Youth Development Educator that's being paid by them because of the need in Will County. And the
She's the one who did all
opportunities.
the
Robotics
training, and this year, she had 100 kids participate in a countywide robotics competition, the first ever. And it's grown twice as much already. She's offering trainings right now for that, to teachers in schools.
I wanted to ask too about, you said about the robotics, the 4-H Youth Development Metro program that you have, the different clubs, and I noticed that it says still you're trying to recruit some schools in Peatone, Valley View, Lockport. How do you try to recruit schools? What's the process for that, and what's the need there?
The recruitment basically is finding somebody in the school district that's willing to be the leader of this group.
And that's got to be really hard, given the strains put on all of our teaching staff throughout the country. We even talked
They've had an
about-
opportunity this past year to work with a grant where the teachers are subsidized in that, and so it's really improved with recruitment and participation of the teachers. But again, just as with all grants, that's going to run out. Fortunately, the bond to understanding the need for that STEM programming and that robotics with that 6th, 7th, and 8th grade group is well known, and a lot of schools are picking up that portion of it on their end. And that's what we really try to do is, get out, do everything we can, and then empower people to continue.
Yeah, it's maybe startup that we are able to do, and with kids and stuff like that, but that's big.
Yeah, I don't know, we're kind of mixing apples and oranges, is what I'm gonna say here, but I I see strings tying through. You know, there's been a huge increase in substance abuse and kids' deaths from heroin overdoses and all kinds of things. And when you just go at it, we you know, DARE programs and Snowball, they've been there for years. And that kind of stuff really has not made the impact that people would like to see. It takes fence sitters and scares kids that would probably not do it anyway, the kids that are in that environment that are going to do it. So, long story short, I wonder if with this whole nutritional getting to nature and getting kids in early programs that are dealing with this and tying in chemicals in our bodies and drug use and that kind of stuff, has there been any discussion in that? Because that may open up other dollars, grant dollars that would be tying in. And you know what, again, apples, orange kind of thing. I understand I'm reaching out there, but you know, I've been in the education system for 30 years, and all these conversations that we're currently having have been had.
It's the same conversation.
I'm just gonna say, we're coming back around again, aren't we? Yes.
Yeah, and so that whole idea of
Prevention
kind of thing, and bringing in families into this, so it's not just the kids that are getting involved.
So now you just talked about our 4-H program. It's not a kid, it's the family that's involved. It's a club, it's a group of caring adults that are not family or not teacher that are working with a child in a club situation. The numbers they're finally doing the good research that says these kids that are in the 4-H club programs do less risky behavior, we'll just leave it at that, but less risky behaviors. They are interested in going on to college, and many of them do post-high school.
But there's an issue with that. You've got families that want to join at that point, and the research is that the families that get you involved in those things, that's why the research is so skewed. And I understand that.
But our robotics become, they don't even know they're in 4-H.
I mean, and when somebody says 4-H, there's a connotation of a long history of things.
House and cookies.
Exactly. And
No,
so
really,
how do
it's
you
so much
go
fun.
in
We go with
and maybe
leadership,
even,
we're going with
but I
STEM.
mean, okay, let me just finish that. What about it? I mean, almost like renaming of that kind of thing. And again, this is apples and oranges. We're kind of putting things out there. You know, I would be willing to take a look at doing this full 50 because it's something that, you know, but I'd like to see something that would look at tying and thinking outside the box.
Can I give you a poignant example of that, if you don't mind? The Kids in Nature program that I have, it's with, again, it is in Joliet, and it was only because the hospital sponsored it. It was Joliet Partners for Healthy Families, but they're expanding and renaming to Will County Partners for Healthy Families. At-risk schools, at-risk kids, 4th graders, we get them. And literally these kids are, sometimes they'll come in and the teacher will say, you know, be careful with him today. His dad held him at gunpoint this weekend. And they see a significant, when these kids get out in nature, decompress, not reprogram, and also they also see an increased improvement in a child's social skills, less bullying. And again, in relation, like you said, apples and oranges, but that tied to nature, you know, back to the beginning. The other thing is the gardens these kids have, all the gardens we have are organic. Frankly, mostly because it's far less challenging to try to put chemicals on gardens, you know. But for kids to understand it and get down to the basic roots of when there were all the food poisonings that were out because of bad food quality, kids said they really made that contact. A 4th grader made that contact, and they really showed that as those kids grow through. We have our first group of those kids now in high school. They're volunteering at Pilcher Park Nature Center. They're participating in the community. They're in Homer Glen. They're in Romeoville, and they're still continuing. Although out of that program, they are still participant. Then the family gets so. Then the parent comes in. Then they understand. They don't understand that they have free tools for that for their whole family until the child gets introduced to it separately. I don't know if that answers your question, but
I mean, again, I've worked with students with severe behavior emotional disorder. I have taken them out into nature. I know that there's a connect there, and it's not what you're currently doing, because once you grab a student, you get them involved, they're involved. And it makes the chance of likelihood that they'll be successful is very high. It's that students that we have not been able to get involved. And you know, you go to high-risk schools, and again, you have that cream of the crop, even in a high-risk school. Those families that want their kids and they motivate their kids, but it's that kid that's not motivated, that's sitting out there. It's a latchkey kid in a Naperville where the families are making $1 million a year. You know, those are still some of those kind of kids that are getting involved in substance abuse.
Because it's at risk in a different way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so,
There's a lot of programs you guys have been doing, and with a small budget like yours, it's difficult to reach out.
which is why I'm
to
saying, Steve, that if we gave them some money and that we take a look at some of these other programs that are going on that are addressing substance abuse, there may be even more dollars available for them with the, and now you're talking about also tying in a lot more community involvement, because we had a meeting up in Naperville where they talked about heroin overdose, and they packed the place. I mean, just hundreds of people in there wanting to know what to do, and the families don't know what to do. And so, I think you're gonna, if we wanna go in and try to kickstart and rejuvenate this kind of idea of what 4-H is and getting this thing in here, I'm saying maybe we need to think out of the box a little bit.
It's a good point, very well taken. And you know, maybe you guys can put some brainstorming together and maybe contact each other.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Chuck can help you.
So let me get to tell you about that, and then possible exposure of that style programming, and like you said, in other ways, in other forms. And that's one
Got a
thing.
lot of contacts around that area
Yeah.
that we can look at.
I just want, go ahead.
We have not funded you at all yet for this year, correct?
I was planning
Yeah,
25.
but we haven't funded anything
You
yet
have not,
as of right now, correct?
Right.
We do have earmarked 25,000.
You have not received any funds?
No. We're on different years,
Okay.
okay?
We're talking
We did
about the
funds
next
out of
budget.
this
We're talking
fiscal
about
year.
the 2015 budget.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about here. That's
Correct.
what I'm trying to get to.
Yes. No.
So we've already funded the 25 for last year's budget. This-
2014, that's
For
correct.
2014, this year's budget.
15 budget.
So this is for the 15 budget?
That's correct.
And we have additional money coming in from waste management.
We need 50,000 a year from that. Plus we got some cumulative.
Yeah. So I
What do
think,
we have sitting in that fund?
I'm not sure, I would have to look at that.
Because we have not handed out the 50,000 every year.
so we have a little bit extra.
There might be an election.
I'm thinking we might be able to do something more for you this time. I'll entertain a motion
So moved.
Second.
to what?
50,000.
50.
50. Moved by Margot, second by Chuck. Any other discussion?
Depending upon where that money's gonna come from, we have to amend that county budget.
Comes from there. This for next year.
I know, but that's, it's already
Yeah.
been submitted, so we have to amend it.
Oh, yeah, it has been requested. Oh, we just do it. We just change it.
You're not just going to be amended.
Right, we'll find revenue sources.
Sure.
Right.
It just hasn't, it's not in the request right now, we have to amend the request.
Which would.
You got it?
I can do that. We can.
I can help.
And anything you need, I'll be right there.
And just a reminder though, we do get matching funds.
Right, so this is, this
So
is.
when
it's
you
a lot
get,
more
This gives 100.
it becomes significant when we get that
You get
75%.
75% match.
Yeah.
It's not 100%.
Oh, that's good. So we give 50 on match, got an additional 75%.
Yeah.
Right,
So
that's a huge
so
change.
it becomes 87,000.
Yes, and I've been thinking, Will County's losing out on this.
Yeah.
We're not getting this, what the state could come with too, so.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks for your persistence.
Thank you for your.
Thank you very much, and I look forward to working with any of you, just give us
So
a
you
call.
all know too, with that Laraway expansion, there's additional money. And with this, and with recycling, there's additional funding that's gonna come.
Right.
When should I come back and ask for that?
I guess.
So this is where that extra is coming from, but yeah, we do have some additional. And again, this is gonna be an annual request, so
And I appreciate that. I
as
really
far
do.
as being able to continue to do this forever,
Next one,
I'm not gonna
I
commit.
pride myself in my program.
You're on the time.
Leave it to the situation.
you're the
Thank
time.
you so much.
Just real quick, I mean, I think most people know that money comes once that expansion is cited. We will get that money, so it's not until then, but we can start taking requests, I'm sure you will, Ken. But we don't get that until that citing is non-appealable citing approval, then we'll start getting $50,000 every year until closing.
When is it becoming non-appealable site?
Thank you again.
Probably
Thanks,
the
a
chairs
year.
are big.
Yeah, but you're not
A little ways.
anticipating any problems.
No, I think it'll be fine, but I just wanna make it clear that people don't think, I mean, that was a process, a citing process to go through on that, so. But we do have, I think we do have some money left from before.
So we'll fill it.
Here, I put in agreement with the health department, for the nutrition and wellness committee, I want to show that you guys have every
Any other rules business?
Okay.
We got a new business, third quarter, quarterly report filed by the auditor. Kathy, do you have anything to say?
No.
Moved by Walt, second by Jackie, all in favor? Opposed, motion carries. Tax sales certificates, quite a few this time.
Yeah, let me show you what I can go in right away.
Moved by Walt, second by Jackie, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Authorize the county executive to execute necessary documents for delinquent tax program, that's the one we had a lot of. Motion?
Motion.
Moved by Jackie, second by Chuck, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Increasing appropriations in land use budget to purchase a vehicle. Right.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Brian Radner from the Land Use Department, and I also have Derek O'Sullivan from the Land Use Department here. This is kind of a unique situation. The county had called due 2 letters of credit in the amount of about $130,000, completed the improvements at a cost of about $105,000, leaving $24,866 and change available. Normally that would be returned to the developer, but in this case the developer passed away and no heirs could be located. The court went through all the proper procedures to locate any heirs, including publication and other sorts of ways to try and find heirs. And Derek O'Sullivan has a little bit more information on that. And there's also a little bit of information from Keith Aishelman in your packet that talked about how the county came into that money. So basically, after going through that legal process, not being able to locate any heirs, court ordered that the money be returned to the county. So we thought this might be an opportunity for the county to purchase a vehicle for the land use department. We have 2 vehicles that are in pool use right now. One's a 2005 and the other's a 2003. Usually we try and work with the Sheriff's Department or EMA to locate additional vehicles, but in this case, both agencies said they didn't have any vehicles available and probably wouldn't for a while. So we're just looking to see if this is a possibility of amending our budget so that we can purchase a vehicle this fiscal year.
Can you describe the need for a new vehicle?
Yeah, basically we have 2 pool cars right now, which means we have about 25 people that would need access to those vehicles on a daily basis. We do have other vehicles that are specifically designated to the building inspectors and the code enforcement inspectors, but they're in daily use. So the other 2 vehicles are for the rest of the staff that are out conducting county business, whether that would be inspections related to zoning. In fact, Derek,
stormwater management inspections have increased as of late due to EPA regulations for soil erosion and sediment control inspections. So that has uptick our field exposure. So
Are they normally taking their own cars?
Yes,
and
they
we're
are.
paying mileage?
And we're
in some
paying
cases,
Do you have what that mileage is?
The department has a mileage fund, which I think it's like $3,000 to $4,000 per year, but it's getting eaten up even more rapidly now that this change has occurred with the EPA inspections.
Personally, I'd rather see the money going to mileage rather than buy a new car, because you still have a pool of 25 people and only 3 cars. You're still going to deal with that, and you're still going to pay mileage out.
Well,
Why would you go in and not have that buffer your mileage line item versus your car?
Well, Board Member Meyer, this is a one-time expense for the vehicle. Basically the mileage would not go, the money will only be in the budget for this year, so it really wouldn't be that effective seeing it down the way.
We can do.
Well, each year
We're looking at 5-year plans, so we can take that
Exactly.
24,000 and easily go in and say, instead of giving you 3, we're going to give you $6,000 a year for mileage, and take that and cover the 4 years.
I mean, that's definitely a possibility, but each year we have to.
That's okay.
Are you looking to replace one of those vehicles?
Those are still in working order. I mean, one is almost 100,000. The other one, Derek, do you know the mileage on the 2003?
That'd be, let's see,
Yeah, the Crown Vic. It's getting up there too.
80s,
So,
87, maybe 90s.
and we've had to increase our auto repair budget too to account for the aging fleet of vehicles.
I'm just thinking you may want to replace one or both of them.
Eventually, we'll have to replace them. And luckily, we were able to get the Lumina from EMA when they retired one of their vehicles, and we've gotten 2 from them. And we try to do that where possible, but nobody has any vehicles available.
Yeah, I kind of concur with Chuck. We're better off paying mileage. That way, when the cars need repairs or whatever, they're not being repaired by us. And then 5 years from now, you're not coming and saying, well, we need another car, replace this car from this one. So it's like just adding another car, where we're actually probably better off paying mileage. We don't have to worry about the maintenance on it. The cost of the mileage covers the maintenance. So, I mean, in the long run, we're saving money by that, and we're also eliminating the future saying we need another car.
Historically, we've kept those vehicles longer than 5 years.
In fact, we just
Oh, even if it's 10 years, it don't matter.
we just
We're gonna say
retired
this
some
is
of
what
our
we need.
2000 or 1998
What's
Jeeps.
the executive's office's idea? I mean, do you concur in the need?
I think this is a unique case where you're not gonna get this very often. I think because we haven't had the funds to replace vehicles, and this isn't the first time you've heard about vehicle replacement, the sheriff's office was here. I think we need to replace some of these vehicles. There's a safety issue at some point on some of these vehicles to get to. And they do, I mean, we do pass the vehicles down. They come out of the sheriff's department and are passed down through EMA. The vehicle that was a pool car for the executive's office and a lot of the other departments was pretty rickety. So I think, I think in this case, it's a unique case. I would support it.
I just have a question. Is there some sort of requirement when you're hired by the county that you have to own a car and allow the county to use it? I mean, I don't know that. I'm asking. That's, if it's not a condition of employment, then we need to be providing vehicles and not just saying, oh, let's pass the maintenance cost down to the employee by making him take their car.
I never heard that. I didn't say that.
No, I'm asking the
I wanna make
question.
the
Yeah, I
same
didn't
point,
say that.
though.
You're getting 55 cents a mile, and that
But
covers
you know, I want to make
fuel
the same
and
point, you
maintenance.
cannot
Supposed to.
require an employee to use their own vehicle.
Thank you.
They can say, no, I'm not using my car.
Yeah, or
Now,
what if
quite
they don't have it
frankly-
available?
Quite frankly, it wasn't a condition of my employment.
Right.
I'm not so sure that I would say, oh, yeah, I'm gonna use my car. So,
You still only have 2 cars to 25 people. And and if you
Well, you
even
have
bought
3
one more,
cars.
you'd still only have 3 cars
But
to
they don't-
25 people.
They don't travel that much.
These people don't use those vehicles every single day.
Exactly.
If the vehicle may be in use every single day, but it's not every employee. It's just
And I would assume they can
that's why I give it
schedule, they
before.
know it's gonna go out, I assume they kind of schedule it. All I'm saying is that when you say you wanna shift that cost to an employee, because it is somewhat a cost. There's a reason that they're paying whatever it is now, 55 cents, because it's the wear and tear, the cost of the car, it's not the price of gas. So if it's not a condition of employment, I just wanted to tell you, you need to be careful just to say, we're gonna shift this over to employees.
Not what I'm saying.
And I should point out, I assume we have.
No, you said, well, you
what I
said
said
they
is-
can just use their own.
No.
car.
What I
No,
said is
you're
to
right.
increase their ability
You're
to
right.
pay the mileage, because they're saying that they're running out of dollars for mileage.
Now, what if-
That's what I'm saying. And that their mileage costs, that people are going in and using their home cars. I'm not saying force them. What I'm saying is make sure that they have enough money to pay it.
I'm not.
That's all I'm saying.
I don't think we're gonna run out of money this year, I'm just saying it's increased. We've tried to budget appropriately for the use of the vehicles.
I know what you really meant, Chuck.
We have.
So do I, Jim.
So, just so you know.
Yeah,
you
I did
can-
not mean what Steve said, so nice try.
You can clean it up, but I know what you really meant.
Anyway,
I was gonna say, we do
I
have
think this is
two
a unique
operable.
situation. We won't have to replace another vehicle for quite a while.
And we always look
I'm gonna
towards
entertain
other
a motion to
agencies.
approve this.
I'll make that motion to approve the
Moved by
resolution.
Jackie, second by Walt. All in favor?
Aye.
Show me some pass.
Let me say this, and I know we're not addressing it, it comes up on occasion, when we talk about capital needs and so forth. You know, you really, really do need a plan for rolling stock, how much you're gonna have, and then, reserving for rolling stock, and then replacing it.
Well,
First, it's also establishing what is really needed, by the way. So, I'm just saying that this is something that needs to be, I think, formalized a little better than it is.
Correct, that is part of our 5-year capital needs plan.
And if I may, they brought up 2 cars that they said are in decent shape. Nick is mentioning a whole fleet of cars that there may be a problem.
Not a fleet. We
Or
have
how
one
many?
vehicle.
No, land use, how many cars is
No,
land use?
I mentioned, we have 2008 and 2009 Jeeps that are all in 50 to 75 mile,
How many cars
miles.
has the land use had altogether?
We probably have about 10 to 12 right now.
Okay, so now we're talking 10 to 12 cars. Now, you come to us and say 10 to 12 cars, we'd like to take a look at getting rid of our worst car and using this money for replacing, to your point, one of the fleets. That's a different argument than what you just made.
I agree with that.
And so to have that argument, I'm more inclined to support that, to have the argument that you have 2 decent cars and we want to add a third, but we're already paying mileage.
Yeah, it's just that those other ones are designated for daily use.
That's okay. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There's still a car that you need to buy or
How you utilize
replace.
them doesn't matter to us.
Yeah.
And Chuck's right about that.
Wow, that's one for the month. And it's only September 1st.
I'm just trying to keep you from getting in trouble. Remember, I'm watching out.
Each department that has a
You may not think so.
Yeah, I know.
have a regular replacement plan as we're adopting our new 5-year capital needs.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
Renewing contract for auditor.
We don't have.
This is our final year, Rita?
No.
I thought I read it
It's the
was
second year of the 3-year
the
contract.
3-year, we have 3 extensions on it?
Two.
Yeah,
2-year contract.
maybe I'm right wrong.
This is the second year
It's the second year.
of a 3-year
Of a 3-year
bid.
Okay,
So it's only, this is the first renewal,
okay, this is the first renewal.
and it will be
And then are there
from
options after that, or no?
one more.
But we, it's a 3-year contract without options.
It's
Each
a-
year is an option, actually.
Every year has to be
Okay,
renewed.
okay.
1-year contract with 2 options.
renewals.
I got it. And this is the
And this is
first of
the
the.
first renewal, so it's the second year of the contract.
And we paid how much last year?
88?
So $3,000 increase. Anybody have any questions? Moved by Walt,
Second.
second by Jackie. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, carried. I think they've done a tremendous job. I've heard nothing but good things, and I think this is a good move.
We're very happy with them, not that they don't work us to death. Get
It's
them on.
their job.
That's why you get the big bucks here.
It's their job. They pass on as much as they can to you guys, right? And you're doing it quite well, so thank
It
you,
is,
Terry.
you have Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
Not all the time.
Leave it through on Monday, yes.
Our OPEB, this $2 million is in the budget for
Yes,
2014. We have not done a 2014 transfer yet.
No, typically we do the OPEB contribution this time of year.
That's
We
right.
make sure that we've met all our other obligations. It looks like our cash will be in line with our reserve policy.
What is that fund made up of at this point?
It's, we've made 3 contributions of $2 million each, plus an interest earned. So this would bring it up to $8
Be,
million.
up to $8 million. We have not used it for any
No.
cost yet.
No, no.
Do we?
No.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just trying to think of, when do we start actually utilizing it as an operating fund?
I think when we get closer to the amount in there meets our health insurance annual contribution, then all our health insurance runs through there, and we can, which is how the health,
Well, just
the Forest Preserve
post-employment.
does it.
Yeah, just the post-employment part of it, you mean?
Well, I think the way the Forest Preserve does it, all their health insurance runs through that trust.
No, it's just for the post-employment employees.
Retirees run through the trust.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So that's what
I
I'm
thought it was
saying,
different.
it's
Okay.
only, that's what that fund is for, it's for the retirees. So at that point in time, think we would also fund their individual contributions would go into that fund.
Right,
Okay.
it should.
Yeah,
But we don't know
Well,
when it is.
That's well into the future, then we'll review
Yeah,
that,
that's
that
what,
criteria.
what is the annual,
When-
annual cost of the retirements?
Oh,
What
we only
percent-
have-
I'm not sure, our long-term liability is 69 or 70 million dollars,
Right.
so we're
But that's-
nowhere near
Does it have to be
that.
fully funded before you
No,
start?
it's a
building?
percentage,
No.
it's a percentage.
So what is it, do you know?
That's what I'm wondering.
I'd have to look
Maybe
into it,
next
I don't
time.
know off the top of my
Yeah,
head.
let's find out.
We're far away.
I'm assuming it has to probably be at least 50% funded.
I
You
would
can't
think.
deplete it.
I don't think so. But anyway, why don't you check into that for us for next
Sure,
time? But as,
sure.
as far as approving this, I agree, this is definitely, something we wanna do. And the sooner that we can get to the point where we're actually running the program through this fund,
Okay.
the better it'll be for our regular budget.
It's off the motion.
All right, moved by Walt,
Second.
second by Jackie, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries, so we can transfer that to the, and then, yeah, just send it to Melissa, Karen, when you get it.
We've been doing 2 million a year.
Yeah.
It's
For
been 2
3
million a
years,
year.
this is the fourth year.
Fourth year?
Yeah.
Has the state caught up with things?
Yeah.
Your sense of humor is rolling this morning, Chuck.
I got way too much time off on vacation.
So that number, that funding number for,
Tell us to do it.
it was based on what was our situation, and what our population was, what actuarially it was at the time. Yeah, I wonder sometimes if that changes at all, if there's anything that make that change, could be up, could be lower. I mean, occasionally I wonder if we just look at what the number's supposed to be.
Every 2 years, we're required to have an actuarial study, and they
Oh,
evaluate our
that's
pool
right.
of retirees,
So we,
and they reevaluate our liability. Our contribution of 2 million, I believe, is what we could afford to do, and we've just kind of stayed with that.
right, but I'm just saying is that, so we will look at it every 2 years?
Yes. So next year, we will look at it, because last year we didn't have an update.
Okay.
So for the 2014 audit, we'll have an actuarial study done, which won't be till spring.
And our annual, what was the annual amount that they recommended that we put in, was somewhere a little closer to 4 million?
Yes.
Yeah.
Still below that. Okay, thank you, everybody. We have a final item, the monthly corporate fund budget, the actual report. You want to give us a brief,
Okay, this report you should have all gotten attached to the
Yes.
new
It was
board
beautiful.
management software.
I love it.
I was
Great.
very excited, I did all my requests using board management software.
Great job.
So page 1 are the graphs showing revenue and expenses, including our accruals, and just trying to give you show you which pieces or which types of revenue and expenses make up the bigger chunks. Our year-to-date revenue is 105 million. The major pieces of that are intergovernmental revenue, which is 34 million, property taxes, which is 32, charges for service, 20 million, and other 14 million. Those are in line with what we budget, just another way to look at it. On the expense side, our year-to-date expenses, including accruals, are 107 million. The 2 major pieces of that, as they typically are salaries and fringes. Salaries are at 57 million, fringes at 52. The other 2 major pieces are professional and technical services and supplies, both in the $5 million range. On page 2, we have a snapshot of our cash in the corporate fund. At July 31st, we had $46 million, down about 2 million from the prior year. But if you go back to July of 2012, we're above that. So I think usually that has to do with the timing of a payroll, because our corporate payroll is roughly $3 million. So we are in line with where we usually are at this point in the year. Page 3 is a recap of revenue and expenses. Revenue is a little lower than the prior year. Most of that difference is due to the timing of transfers in from the FICA and IMRF fund, which have been done, but because they are cash transfers, they have to be dated the day they actually happen.
we're seeing almost $750,000 down in charges for services. What kind of services are we talking about?
If you go-
720,000?
If you go to page 4, it'll give you the major categories within that. I mean, we have hundreds of revenue accounts, so page 4 and 5 give you the larger ones.
The recorder of deeds, what was going on?
The recorder of deeds is down about 400,000 as compared to last year.
Delinquent taxes is way down. INT, delinquent taxes, whatever.
And
Well,
interest,
that-
which
well,
doesn't
that's-
report until the end of the year, that's the biggest.
That's a one-time,
Okay.
it'll pay.
Thank you.
The biggest reason is that there's $3.8 million of budget in the interest.
Yeah, half of that amount is coming from the recorder of deeds, not charging people, so.
Well, she.
No, not in those two lines. Her internet fee is $100,000 and we've not collected that. These are recording and revenue stamps.
This is just sales.
Sales.
This is a real estate transaction.
Right.
So it's all related to the
They're down 400,000.
yes. So that's all tied to mortgages being recorded. The internet fee is a small enough dollar amount that it doesn't even show on this.
The refi business was kind of slowed down a little bit last year, this year, I should say. But then the other part of this is the interest on delinquent taxes, and then also the, I don't know, it's a different line, but yeah, that's $4 million basically of the difference in that line item.
Well, and then the recorder fee too, the other side of it is revenue stamps. That's the other piece that the
That's
recorder
all
does,
over.
and that's up $225,000. So netted together, they are down compared to last year. But again, that's all tied to recording mortgage documents.
The other part of it is, looks like some Sunny Hill
Yeah,
revenue.
Medicare.
Yes. And that's a timing with payments.
Okay.
That we, you know,
We don't accrue that, we just,
no, I don't accrue it because it's a little too difficult
right.
for me to get my fingers on what months they're owed, because some of these lines have more than one funding source to go into them, so I can't tell if it's Medicaid or Medicare or something else.
Does that get accrued by the auditors at the end of the year though?
Yes, we do, the auditors review this at the end of the year, and we do an analysis, the nursing home and I together analyze all the revenue accounts, and we do what they call predictive revenue, where based on their census and what the rates are, what we would predict the revenue reimbursements to be, and then we compare it to actual.
So the reason I'm going there is that it was accrued at the end of last year, so this year on a cash basis, we may have missed some of the payments early in the year because those actually went through the accrual.
Probably, yes.
So that's why that's down. Anybody have any questions otherwise? I just saw that there was a couple of areas where we were a little bit over. How does the sheriff's department and
Would you want to go to the last page then?
Yeah.
The last page is expenses only, and we separate salaries and fringes and all the other expenses. Salaries and fringes is 78% of our budget, depending on how our other spending goes. Separating them, there's 3 departments that appear to be over where we would expect them to be at this point in the year. We've had 17 of 26 payroll, so that's 65% of the salary budget.
Right.
Whereas on the other side, for the other expenses, we've had 8 of 12 months, so it's 67%, so there's a little bit of a difference there. The first one is the maintenance department, and that is directly tied to the increases that they were required to give their city. They're a small department, they can't absorb the increases. They don't really have much overtime. They're slightly above, hopefully by year end they can.
they didn't have much attrition this year? Did they?
No, they didn't have any attrition, and I do believe that the county exec departments, finance, purchasing, the county exec will be able to clean up maintenance by the end of the year.
Been some
Because
shortfalls
we had 2 vacant positions for
Right.
8 months.
Right.
So we have the ability to clean them up at year end. The next
Probation
one-
and the sheriff's department.
Right, and probation
would
is
be-
directly related to contract, labor negotiations, contracts that were agreed to that were not included in their budget. Same thing for the sheriff. On the other expense side, records management is over, and that's because they spent all their capital dollars already. They replaced some printers and copiers, so it's more the timing of where they spent it. And then the sheriff, and I have to look to did not make a note of what was over in the sheriff's department on the other expense side. So I'll get to
Any recollection off the top of your head, Nate?
No, not off the top of my head.
All right, well, it's something we need to continue to monitor. Those accruals are in there, so hopefully this won't grow to a larger percentage by the end of the year. Anybody else have any other questions on anything?
I'll share it's overtime doing this year. That's not a line item.
Well, they did, there was overtime in the budget last year. I don't believe they've exceeded that. However, they have the ability to move budget from other salary lines into overtime, so I don't think they've done that yet.
Okay, thank you very much. And so that's through July. We have 4 more months to monitor. I have no announcement, and do we have an executive session? I don't believe so. Anybody have any comments or questions? Otherwise, I entertain motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Chuck, second by Ken. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. I was going to say aye.
Yeah.